what we did for Porsche was really give them this infrastructure that allows them to quickly compose and build their software-defined data center using VMware's vCloud Foundation.
You're listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, the place to learn about new technology and technological advances before they become mainstream. Let's get into it.
Welcome to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro. I'm your host, Carrie Roberts, and our guest today is Kyle Green, the Director of America's Partner Sales with VMware. Welcome, Kyle. So thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you, Carrie. Happy to be here as well.
Today, we're talking about cloud security, and it's estimated that over 500 million new apps will be created in the next 30 years, which is more than those created in the past 40. Organizations of all sizes are facing significant pressure to build and deploy new applications that allow them to expand into new areas, provide a better customer experience, and defend against the competition. And many believe cloud solutions are the answer. Why is cloud the solution, and how many different types of cloud options are out there, Kyle?
Oh, Carrie, good question. There's a lot of things that enter into the definition of cloud these days. So first of all, let's go back to the customer. From an application standpoint, that's how customers are changing their world, right? How they're connecting better with customers or their end users or creating a better employee experience. It's all around apps, and that's only growing. The speed of those application development teams and needs are being required as people adopt artificial intelligence and machine learning. So to use the data that's out there to make it consumable, they need new applications, new ways to quickly connect and get that information to their users. And there's a philosophy that says, hey, traditional IT infrastructures, traditional three-tier structures or the data center as you know it typically, have not been able to be very responsive. It takes too long, right, to design a system that they may need to buy. It takes 6 weeks to procure it, then another 3 months to deploy it and stand it up. Infrastructure, as we've typically been accustomed to, is just not agile enough to handle the fast pace of application deployment needs. So by default, customers have turned to a cloud operating model or the public cloud because they can get compute and networking and storage resources on demand. Now, the cost structures are sometimes not exactly what they expected, and the security functions are not as easily used as they expected. And each cloud has its own unique characteristics if you were to develop an application to run in, say, an Amazon or a Google or IBM SoftLayer, for example. So what that's created is a whole bunch of clouds, right? And customers are struggling with, I know I need to deploy apps. I need to do them quickly. My traditional IT is not helping me, but what do I do? And so we see customers defining cloud today as most certainly public and private. We typically call that hybrid. But we also see customers want to be able to move workloads or applications between clouds and do that easily without having to refactor or rebuild an old app or a new app, right? So say they've developed an app to run on Google and they want to move it to Azure. Well, I have to rebuild it or refactor it to do that in many cases. So what we're trying to do here and we want to talk about today is how VMware is helping customers be able to adopt public clouds, private clouds, and multi-cloud environments easily and focus on deploying those applications and building those applications that help them get better connected with their customers or fend off competition.
Yeah, and as you're talking about being able to do things with ease and convenience as a priority, but then security becomes an issue. So when it comes to security of the cloud, what do you suggest are some of the best practices to have in place?
This is a question that you listen to Pat Gelsinger, our CEO, talk. This is a very high priority on his agenda. And it's because the security industry is very separated today. There's many, many security products. There's many security components. And in reality, security touches everything in the data center around the app, physically and virtually. So what we think we can do, and the best practices we're encouraging customers to do, is really adopt this software-defined data center model or a cloud operating model in your public and in your private environment, your private data center, as well as being able to extend the same type of software features and functions within the public clouds. So VMware is really the only company out there that has this basis of a software model that can be run on-prem and in the cloud that gives customers the ability to do this. So let me explain in a little more detail. So when you have a multi-cloud environment, you really need to build security into all aspects of that software. And in this case, I'm talking about the software that runs the software-defined networking. So whether you can micro-segment that network, create virtual private networks, secure the end-user logons and single sign-on capabilities, and give a customer the same security policies that are defined in software versus hardware, and move those in between the various clouds is a critical component. We have software that enables that capability and works in conjunction with the physical firewalls and security infrastructures that customers already have. So that's just the networking piece. You broaden that to storage, you go the same kind of conversation. Data at rest encryption, clusters or key management capabilities to lock down data from, access from applications that shouldn't be touching those parts of the data. Hardware agnostic, so it doesn't matter if you're running software on an HPE device or a Dell device, you still have the same storage security policies that follow your application wherever it lives. You take security into the compute model, and this is one of the places where VMware has a unique perspective in that we run within a VMware environment on our vSphere hypervisor platforms. 80 to 85% of the public most critical applications that our customers have. And we're adding a security layer into that with one of our acquisitions with Carbon Black and with App Defense to help secure the hypervisor and the end user compute side of the software platform. You then take that up into the management layer for governance and compliance or change audits, proactive error detection, things that are becoming easier to do with tools in the marketplace, but applying that tool across the board is difficult. So we're trying to give customers a software view that makes the security or software-defined security policies that touch every component of your data center, give you a control point for that, but not limit you to using the things in the marketplace that you may have already in your data center.
We want to tell you about Ingram Micro Financial Solutions and how you can maximize your buying power and get to yes with your customers faster. For the last 9 years, Ingram Micro has been Channel Pro's reader's choice for best financing options. Put the power of our credit and leasing options to work for you. You can easily contact Financial Solutions at ingrammicro.com. All right, let's get back to the show.
Now, I know you personally, as you've talked about already here, you are a fan of multi-cloud environments. Can you take us through maybe a little bit more specifically, especially from the beginning, how VMware starts with the strategy, including some of maybe the technical components and the customer value?
Sure. So VMware fundamentally does two things. We help customers modernize their applications. We help them modernize data centers. But what that looks like at kind of a strategy level is we're trying to help our customers via VMware software suite be able to deliver any application, one they currently have, one they have built in the last month, and the ones they're going to build in the future with containers or with virtual machines or edge IoT network applications, edge computing applications. We want them to be able to run any application and run it on any device they have, your phone, your tablet, your PC, your neighbor's PC, right? Wherever you have access, whatever device you use, you want to be able to access that with the right security privileges, of course, and do that across any cloud. Any cloud could be your private data center acting in a cloud operating model. It could be Amazon, Google, any of the public clouds out there. And in our case with VMware, we have over 4,000 cloud partners out there that are running our software in their version of a public cloud or regional cloud that they service their customers from. So when you look at that combination of things, our strategy of any app, any device, any cloud really manifests itself to how we build and integrate our software and then integrate that software into the ecosystem of hardware providers and service providers and software providers that are out there in the market for individual components of a data center.
Now, do you have any stories or use cases you can share with us about how your strategy that VMware suggests has helped an organization in some way?
Yeah, there's a number of ones. And one that's kind of I guess, a recent public announcement that's out there is Porsche Informatica in Europe. And, everybody knows Porsche, the car dealerships. But you think about their entire business, they needed the agility to deploy their applications faster. And they had some applications that they wanted to use in the public cloud, and some they wanted to keep on-prem for compliance reasons or cost reasons. So the answer was, in almost all cases, we're finding customers are adopting a both strategy. Even if they don't need to do both right now, they want the ability to do both public and private. And in a public world, multiple public clouds, not just be locked into one of the particular, vendors today. So in Porsche's case, we're able to software define their data center. It freed them up to then really create a cloud operating model privately that helped them use their application development to build on a common developer platform that said, hey, I can start building my applications in the cloud for my developers. And once it's built, I can move it in on-prem if that's where that application needs to live permanently. Or vice versa, build it on-prem and then be able to move it into the cloud if that's the right location to get to the user base they need to. So what we did for Porsche was really give them this infrastructure that allows them to quickly compose and build their software-defined data center using VMware's vCloud Foundation, or Cloud Foundation, we call VMware Cloud Foundation, to give them that ability and then do that on their hardware of choice. In this case, they partnered with HPE and their Synergy platform and as well as their GreenLake cloud consumption model to go do that. We just had a conversation with a healthcare provider today as well, where we talked about giving them the ability to be ready to go to the cloud. Their apps are very sensitive, and they need the agility of the cloud, but they don't want to lose control and put those applications in the cloud. So we're helping them build that on-prem and then make sure they're ready if and when the applications they're building or they change their mind or they cross a different use case that needs to go to the cloud for a variety of reasons. So those are two that come to mind offhand.
Can you tell us a little bit more about VMware that you offer that maybe we don't know yet, and where people can learn more about what we talked about today, and if they want to connect with you somewhere?
Absolutely. So, it's funny. I spend a lot of time with our partner community and a lot of their customer base. And it still amazes me that when I talk to customers or even sellers from our partners, they still think of VMware as really only a server virtualization company. They haven't kept up with the changes that we have made and the changes in the market of where we can help customers solve problems. So today, our breadth is really around helping customers with two key issues, cloud and security. And then I would say a third one about the mobility of their applications and creating a seamless employee experience or customer experience where they can get to their apps from any app or, from any device, wherever they may be, and get the right performance and security aspects they're looking for. So I would say from our standpoint, we encompass the entire data center, and we're solving problems for customers that are helping them be more agile, true business value in deploying applications quicker, responding to competitive threats quicker, reducing massive CapEx and OpEx expenditures that have become habits over the last 10 to 15 years in the traditional data center or three-tier data center market. That software-defined model changes everything, but it doesn't have to change it to only a public cloud. You can get the same benefits and features and optimize your own data center to be competitive in that marketplace as well. So my ask is, if you haven't spent the time, hit VMware's website. We have a great customer testimonials on VMware.com, and you can go to customer testimonials, customer experiences on that page, and you'll read the variety of ways we're helping customers by using the entire portfolio. And we're also helping customers use the things they already have in their data center. But our focus has moved towards a business function by automating and simplifying the infrastructure that supports it, so that the customer and the smart people, right, in the corner offices trying to figure out how to help customers make money, have a better tool in their bag and an easier tool than what they've been used to dealing with. I was going to say, by particular contact information, I'm happy to have that conversation or get you in touch with the right people. And you can always reach me at Kyle G, K-Y-L-E-G, at VMware.com. And or certainly on the website, there's plenty of places to reach out and we'll get the right people in contact with you.
Perfect. And when you think of technology as a whole, where do you see it going within the next year?
I think probably the simplest way to sum it up, Carrie, is to say, I think it's going towards this cloud operating model. And to me, we're doing pretty well on the technology side there of making things software defined and integrating, existing hardware and software together and automating the processes that can be automated, adopting artificial intelligence and machine learning to make applications better and smarter and faster and all that kind of stuff. I think probably the biggest change I see coming is in how you pay for that. It's a consumption model change where no longer am I buying hardware for a data center and amortizing it for 5 years, right? And trying to squeeze the life out of it. I don't know, my application pace is so fast and the characteristics of those applications are so varied and compute consuming and storage consuming and need to consume various networking resources to get to the right locations and places that I just have to go faster. So I think the biggest change is going to be in how you pay for things. That consumption model of pay for it as you use it, compose what I need when I need it at the end of the month, and then give those resources back, to a pool so that I can use them down the road for other applications as needed. So I think those are the two biggest changes I see.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Kyle and VMware, for sharing all of this information with us today.
Happy to do it. Looking forward to talking with you again, Carrie.
If you like this episode or have a question, join the discussion on Twitter at Ingram TechSoul with the hashtag B2B Tech Talk. Thank you for tuning in and subscribing to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro.
You've been listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, hosted by Carrie Roberts and sponsored by D-Link Technology. B2B Tech Talk is a joint production by Sweetfish Media and Ingram Micro. Ingram Micro production handled by Laura Burton and Christine Fan. To not miss an episode, subscribe today in your favorite podcast platform.